I had a bit of a trite introduction geared up. I had 2 minutes, I realised that, but I've had a revelation or an epiphany, as one of my colleagues at work says. I've had 2 epiphanies. The first one was Tom Scott acknowledged tonight that he wrote Barry's presentation. Well, I want to let you know, Barry, and audience, I put it together. So nothing you heard there was original. It was Tom's language and my picture. So thanks, Barry, we'll take that. The second revelation is that I just want to apologise to Angus. Now, I was born where Bogan was begat, and anyone here would know that that is Lower Hutt. And in the day, back in the day, having a scrap at 16 was just de rigueur. That's what you did, all right, Angus? I'm sorry, and I never knew you were going to get so bloody big. I've been looking forward to this night for 120 days, ever since Martin gave me a call. In fact, 100 sleepless nights later, I rang Martin and said, what do you do? He said, it's easy, mate. It's PowerPoint for ninjas. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. He said, do what you always do. Tell them how you're going to bore them, and then tell them how you bored them. My story is called Humble Kai. It starts in Scotland in the year 1314 and traverses 700 years in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. What could go wrong? And the line I've been wanting to say all night because it's a little rhyme, so Fabio, let's go. This fruity portrait of the effete King Edward II was in fact taken on the 23rd of June 1314. It was shot the day after Edward's army of 26,000 NIMBY English were given a right royal kicking by 6,000 mad Scots. You could say the king had had a most ungood day in the office. Bannockburn saw the houses of Bosley, Hadlow and Soper deheaded as seen here. And in fact, this is one of my ancestors on the right. This is the Highlander chief, Sir William Sinclair, the 5th Baron of Roslin, no less. Reminiscent of Willie Appiato, I think you would say. 3 on 1 there, as you can see. And Sir William was in fact given Robert the Bruce's sword after the scrap. About a year later, he had a career change and he set up what was called the Christian Courier Company and agreed to deliver Robert's heart to the Holy Land. But he was killed en route at the Battle of Tiber in Spain. Now, the official line is that Willie was on a crusade. We now believe he was on one of the world's first culinary tours, delivering Robert's offal to El Bulli. It is to Sir William, I should say, that I owe my culinary and fighting credentials, because for the past 30 years, I have killed to eat. My nickname in the hills is Hannibal, and my mates say the only part of an animal or a fish I won't eat is its eyebrows, but I'm still looking for that fish. Unfortunately, Sir William failed to see the threat of this big bastard here, all right? This creature of the night, Chief Ronald MacDonald, whose family of lowlifers went on to create a global empire dedicated to killing the world's taste buds and basically essentially helping a generation of kids dig their own graves with their teeth. Because, ladies and gentlemen, somewhere in the world right now, people believe that a tuna is born and dies of natural causes in a small can. People believe that a bull lives and dies of natural causes between 2 sesame seed buns. And this tragedy has shaped my proposition for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the world's taste buds are dying. And right now, New Zealand needs more hearts, more hairs, more furs, more feathers, more livers, more paws, more pizzles, more tongues, and more testicles, more than we need more Wilsons. My proposition, ladies and gentlemen, is that New Zealand can become the wild harvest capital of the world, growing a $500 million plus business, importing wealthy tourists and exporting game-based fast food to the planet and reawakening global taste buds. And those things falling out of Lake Taupo are what you think they are. A quick ingredients hit list. Our ingredients are extraordinary and flourishing. We've got 7 species of deer across 3 islands alone. They include Japanese sika, Indian samba, New Caledonian rusa, Scottish and English reds, American wapiti, Eurasian fallow and American whitetail. We've got these beauties, wild boar, released here by Captain Cook in 1769, and in fact originating from those English breeds of Tamworth and Berkshire. Now, wild pigs populate a huge part of this country now, and with sows dropping about 10 piglets a year, their future is assured. My business does a lot of work in the Middle East, and the Arabs revere our hare. They love it. It's one of the finest game meats, rating up there in my view with venison and pheasant, and much of our backcountry is also overrun with goats, chevron being the #1 eaten meat on the planet, largely thanks to India. We've got these beauties all up through Taranaki, the world's largest species of pheasant, the peacock, huge populations. Again, their meat is revered by Indian newlyweds in particular, who eat it with oils infused with gold and marinated in spices. Ducks, Canada geese and black swan round off what I call our flying introduced ingredients. Mountain bear, bit of an ick factor here, I realise. The possum continues to thrive in sufficient numbers, I would argue, to warrant a wild food commercial proposition. Now, except this isn't the first time this has been mooted, but I don't think it's ever been mooted or pushed or attempted to mainstream possum into a Western palate. And I think it's a challenge we should pick up around the fringes where 1080 isn't being dropped. Over and above the super premium species of fish and crustaceans, like this lovely piece of art of the cray, I think they're going to be too expensive for the audience that I'm chasing. There are plenty of fish in sub-premium species, some would argue they're not even that, in hoki, in ling, in kahawai, in smoothhound, that can still be easily caught and sustainably caught in New Zealand waters. And this is my proposition. It is simply called wild. And the operation would consist of 5 vertically integrated arms. This is the commercial bit. First of all, a game food harvest tourist operation to attract wealthy tourists in here who want to kill to eat. Secondly, a halal-compliant meat factory, processing to take advantage of our great relationships in the Middle East. Thirdly, a manufacturing plant to turn all of that good stuff, the venison, the boar, the peacock, the swan, into gourmet burgers and treats. Fourthly, a globally franchised food empire with export and marketing centralised in Wellington. And fifthly, thanks to Peter Jackson, a leather processing industry right here, so that every animal is respected. Don't buy into the fact that our creeks and waterways are completely polluted. 100% pure is being attacked by countries jealous of it. And what I want to take to wild is our water, because our water is one of the purest samples of its kind in the country, and we would sell water called simply rain. Culinary tourists would pay a licence fee to take game. 90% of those animals would go back into wild meat processing. Guides would pay for quota. Venison and boar farmers, among others, would actually supplement that, and that would help them rise above New Zealand's exposure to the whims of international commodity prices. The menu would be designed through social media and supplemented obviously through the great brains of Bosley, Morgan and Company, who would be actually charged with developing a fast food game-based menu brief to mainstream. And our interim CEO would be sheeted home to a CE, an ex-CE of McDonald's, looking to make peace with God. And this is our tagline. Lead a wild life. That would be used to create and share stories the world round, to remind tired skin and sallow eyes of what it really means to feel alive, to awaken taste buds the world over, not just here in New Zealand, and to remind diners like you and like me that every meal you consume should be treated like it's the last meal that you consume, because one day you will be right.